Hi, and welcome to the inaugural broadcast here in Shape Your Change. Thanks for joining me. My name is Ramsey Bergeron. I think there's going to be a little bit of a delay, so I'm not quite sure when this is going to be going live on Facebook, but should be here in the next moment or two. And while I'm waiting for folks to roll in, when you do pop in the room, just go ahead and pop in the chat. Tell me where you're from and what brought you to this group. I know for me, I started this group and it's called Shape Your Change because change is inevitable. There's nothing that we can do to stop it. Change is going to happen, but how would it feel to be able to shape your change, to be able to help design how your life goes and help it flow? So that's kind of why I started the group and why it's called that. So what I plan on doing here is just having a community for those of you that want to continue to learn, to grow, to connect with other like-minded people. Portland, Oregon. All right, now folks are starting to see where folks are coming in from. Hi, Portland. Welcome. Doesn't give me your name because I'm using StreamYard and streaming out to Facebook. So I think if you want me to have your name pop up where I can see who it is, you might have to allow StreamYard to see that. But for now, thanks for joining me from Portland. So here in this group, I'm going to be posting information on upcoming webinars, classes, retreats, and I'm going to try to have a different challenge every month. And so for this month, the challenge is Mindful May. Or Mindfulness May, and it's going to be a 30-day challenge to introduce you to meditation and mindfulness. And we're starting off relatively slow, so to speak, with 5 minutes a day for this first week in May. And I'm not quite sure how many of you have meditated before or what your experience might be with it. If you do have any questions in regards to meditation, type it in the chat. And whenever it does eventually pop up on my screen here, I'll do my best to answer it. So diving into meditation and kind of getting started, we're going to start with why meditation is important. I know for me, I spent a lot of my early life stressed out and just constantly busy, running from one thing to the next, and never really knew how to listen to what my body was trying to tell me because I was so concerned in my own mind. And I identified so much with what I was thinking. And I used to think I was a terrible person. Like growing up, I would have thoughts. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a terrible human being. I'm going straight to hell. I can't even believe that thought popped in my head. And I wasn't aware until I was a lot older that I am not my thoughts, and that thoughts think themselves. And so there are some great concepts that meditation has allowed me to understand and slow down and help me be able to, I guess, just realize what I'm in control of and what I'm not. So there's many different kinds of meditation, and I'm not going to get into all of them. I'm just going to talk about meditation for the purpose of today as a tool to help you learn how to slow the mind down and create space between stimulus and reaction to get some of the many health benefits that you can with meditation. Starting off with just the physical benefits. If you want to reduce your blood pressure, improve your circulation, lower cortisol levels, and improve your sleep, meditation is a great way to do that. A lot of mental benefits. Reduce stress and anxiety, which is always helpful. Increase focus and concentration, because I know whenever I'm trying to do 30 things at once, I can't focus on any of them. Meditation also for me has improved my mood and emotional well-being greatly. Because again, it allows me to have some space between myself and the thoughts and myself and the feelings. And it allows me to be a lot more present. And that gives me a lot more self-awareness because I'm not just stuck up in a story that I'm telling myself. It's also helped me a lot in regards to just relationships with friends and family. It allows me to take that beat before I respond or react. And I can slow down and think about, is this how I want to show up? And not to mention, there's a lot of spiritual benefits as well, which we'll get into maybe in a later week or possibly on another challenge. But for today, I just want to talk about getting started to meditation. And whenever I'm talking about the benefits of meditation, and when I'm working with clients one-on-one, and this is something that I had a hard time understanding, there's a difference between an intellectual understanding of it and an experiential understanding of it. So what do I mean by that? I can tell you all the great things that meditation can do for you. And it's one thing to know it intellectually, but until you begin to incorporate it into your life, it won't resonate. And that's okay. I know if you told me 4 years ago that I would be meditating daily, I would have told you you're crazy. I'm not a hippie. That's too woo woo for me. That just wasn't who I was. And then I guess no, after the pandemic hit, I started watching a documentary called The Last Dance on the Chicago Bulls, and was really intrigued by Phil Jackson because I'm like, that guy's got his shit together, and started studying because of the influence of that documentary and him, started studying Eastern philosophies and really started looking into meditation. And then when Eddie, my best friend, passed away in July of 2020, I really started to explore it even further and did a 10-day silent meditation course in August of 2020. August of 2020 in 29 Palms, California, 110 degrees outside, 100 hours of meditation in 10 days. So it's 10 days of no speaking, no reading, no writing, no eye contact, no music, just 100 hours of meditation. I do think that's an incredible experience. If you want more information on that, it's dharma.org, or maybe it's Dharma. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the notes. I want to make sure, because one's Insight Timer, which is another great organization, and one is Vipassana, which is a form of meditation I'll talk about. So again, if you have any questions on meditation in particular, please put them in the chat, but I'm going to kind of address the style of meditation that we're going to be talking about today, which is more kind of focusing on the breath. The different styles of meditation that there's a breathing meditation, there's a body scan meditation, which is also helpful. There's a loving kindness meditation, which is known as metta meditation, and then visualization, when you want to visualize your future and kind of embody that, which is something I know Joe Dispenza does, and he does very well. I highly recommend his book, Becoming Supernatural. But in regards to starting off meditation, you don't need a lot. You need a place, literally any place, but somewhere quieter is probably better. Find a nice quiet spot, free of distractions. I like to put on headphones and listen to some music because I have a dog at home that if I lock him out of the room, he gets very needy and will start crying and whining. And in a perfect world, I won't let that bother me with meditation. However, I am a human being and I needed to really concentrate and center. So I like to get myself in a room, close the door, put on some headphones, listening to some nature sounds for me. If you need help to get started, there are some apps I highly recommend. The three that I recommend the most, Insight Timer is a fantastic app. I use that now mainly because it has a timer function, which is also something important, and just has some kind of more, when I say generic background stuff, they do have guided meditations as well, but I don't really use those right now. But Insight Timer is fantastic. The Calm app, CALM. It's a fantastic app. And I believe they also have a 30-day intro to meditation as well, where every day they kind of build on it. So if you're looking to get started, that's another helpful tool you can use. And there's also Headspace, which is another good app to use to get started with meditation. So once you have a spot, and we're going to just be starting with 5 minutes this week. So if you've never meditated before, all I'm asking is for 5 minutes of your time. And I guess I'm going to start by defining what meditation is not. So whenever you're doing this, it's meditation is not relaxation. Now you can relax by meditating, but don't just sit in one spot or don't lay down like you're going to bed and be like, all right, I'm going to meditate before I fall asleep, because then you're just going to fall asleep, not really getting the benefits of meditation. So I recommend sitting up. I have a back jack that I sit up in the other room, my meditation room, so I can have a straight back, sitting up tall. Find a comfortable seating position, because you ideally don't want to move for the duration of the meditation. And then close your eyes, listen to the music, and then focus on the breath. So once you're sitting down, close your eyes and focus on the breath. And here in a little bit, I'm going to lead you through a guided meditation, just a short minute or two, just to help you get started with it. And when I say focus on the breath, you're just going to focus on breathing in and breathing out. Now, a couple of different ways you can do this. Whenever I was getting started, I was using the mantra in my head: breathe in, breathe out, or breathing in, I am breathing in, breathing out, I am breathing out. Whatever you can do to kind of make it the duration of your natural breath is kind of ideal. Or you can just notice the air as you're exhaling coming out and hitting your nostrils, hitting either the top of your lip or feeling sensation around the nostril. And that's a helpful way especially when you're getting into body scanning meditations. This is a great way to just kind of transition into that. And when you notice a thought, because a lot of people think meditation is clearing your mind and not having any thoughts, that's not it, at least not for what we're doing. The idea is to notice a thought. And when you notice a thought, notice it without judgment and return to the breath. So say that I'm closing my eyes and I'm meditating and I'm focusing on the breath, and then all of a sudden a thought comes into my head of, oh, I really should, I got to stop by the grocery store after this. I want to go buy. And then you start going down that thought train. And once you've noticed your thinking, that's okay. Notice the thought without judgment and just return to the breath. Whenever I first got started meditating and I would notice that I was thinking, I'd get so angry at myself, like, oh, I'm so stupid. Why am I thinking? And then that would just completely throw me off and go in the opposite direction of trying to steal the mind. So the point of meditation isn't, again, to not think. It's to be aware of the thoughts and the feelings you're experiencing without judgment. It's to be curious about them and then return to the breath. Thoughts are not good or bad. They are just thoughts. If you assign a connotation, we can talk about this. I talk about this a lot in my radical acceptance class about how do we view thoughts without judgment. So whenever you have a thought, don't think of it as a good thought or a bad thought. It's just a thought, and return to the breath. So we're going to spend a couple of minutes now doing this. I'm going to ask those of you that are here to sit up tall. I'm going to see if I can put some music on here for a moment while we're doing this. I'm going to have you sit up tall with your back straight. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath and relax. And I want you to focus on the breath. Breathing in, I am breathing in. Breathing out, I am breathing out. Breathing in, I am breathing in. Breathing out, I am breathing out. Find your natural breathing rhythm. Feel your feet flat on the floor. And focus on the breath. Breathing in, I am breathing in. Breathing out, I am breathing out. And when you notice a thought popping into your head, that's okay. Notice it without judgment and return to the breath. Breathing in, I am breathing in. Breathing out, I am breathing out. As you exhale, feel the breath hitting your upper lip. Feel it around the edges of your nostrils. Breathing in, I am breathing in. Breathing out, I am breathing out. Your mind is the sky, and thoughts and feelings are but the weather. Let them pass. Return to the breath. Breathing in, I am breathing in. Breathing out, I am breathing out. And we're going to take one more deep breath in all the way to the bottom of your lungs. And whenever you're ready, fully exhale that breath out through the mouth. Wiggle your fingers and toes, and slowly come back to the room whenever you're ready. So, how did that feel? Wasn't quite 5 minutes. Go ahead and put it in the chat. Again, there's a bit of a delay, so whenever I see it, I'll go ahead and comment on it. So the point of this week is to just get started in the habit. It's 5 minutes of your time to sit, Close your eyes, meditate, and focus on the breath. Too many times, whenever we don't create that separation between stimulus and reaction, and the way that meditation helps create that space is because generally, whenever a thought pops into our head, we'll start going down that thought train. So then it'll be like, well, I got to go to the grocery store. Wait a minute. Am I going to even have time to go to the grocery store? I have to do this presentation later today. Oh my gosh. And then our mind just goes off to the races. What meditation allows you to do is it creates space between that thought and then you feeling like you have to act on it. So Viktor Frankl has a great quote. He says, in between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. So meditation gives you the ability to choose how you want to intentionally live your life. Otherwise, we're just on autopilot, just constantly running from one thing to the next, and we're not even living. There's a Zen saying about a guy on a horse riding as fast as he can, and someone else says, "Where are you going?" And the guy says, "I don't know, ask the horse." And that's how so many of us live our lives. And then we get to the end of our life and we're like, wait a minute, I didn't even get to live my life with purpose or intention. I was just kind of on autopilot. So meditation gives you that space. One thing I do want to say in regards to meditation, well, I know I've said a lot, this whole thing's about meditation, but be kind to yourself in this process because it's challenging. It's not easy. There's a difference between simple and easy. It's simple to sit with your eyes closed and focus on breathing. It's not easy. And I like to equate it kind of like an exercise program. If I went to the gym one time and came home and looked in the mirror, I could say, well, that didn't do anything. Meditation is kind of the same thing. It takes time to build up. It takes time for you to truly understand the benefits of it. So please commit yourself to these 30 days. It's not the rest of your life for it. Just try for 30 days. And I promise you, it will make drastic improvements in your life. Don't worry about doing it right. If a thought pops into your head, completely okay. Just acknowledge it and then come back to the breath. And I know I used to fall into the trap. Whenever I would have an incredible meditation session, I would really feel connected and grounded. The worst meditation session I would ever have would usually be the one following that one, the next one. Because I would go in with the intention of, man, that felt so good yesterday. I can't wait to have that same experience today. And then I'm chasing an experience. And in doing so, I'm not just being present in the moment. I'm actually living in the past. I'm trying to relive or recreate the meditation from yesterday. And that doesn't do me any good. So even if you notice for the whole 5 minutes that your mind is racing from thought to thought to thought for the whole 5 minutes, that's okay. Because we're just getting started with the practice. So the first thing to do to start a meditation practice is set aside the time. Just like everything else, you might tell yourself, okay, I'll do that later. I'll do that later. We make time for what's important to us. We're talking about 5 minutes. Set aside the time. Second thing, set aside the time. I'm not going to gloss over it because like back when I was a personal trainer and people would ask me, hey, well, how do I get in shape? And I would say, well, eat less and move more. And they'd say, okay, well, how do I really get in shape? Well, eat less and move more. We're all looking for that magic answer. There is no magic answer. Set aside the time. Set aside the time. Focus on the breath. And when a thought enters your mind, acknowledge it without judgment and return to the breath. And then repeat the process. Sometimes, and if you notice you're thinking the whole time, that's actually a win because the whole point of this is to notice your thinking. So don't be discouraged because too often, day to day, minute to minute, we aren't aware of our thoughts and we think we are our thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. You are the person who can observe those thoughts and those feelings. It's The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle, which I highly recommend if you haven't read that. So next week, I'm going to be focusing on a different element of meditation and mindfulness, but I just wanted to share this with you as kind of a beginner's guide on how to get started. 5 minutes a day, be kind to yourself, sit, focus on the breath. When a thought enters, allow it to flow through you and be kind to yourself in the process. So go ahead and type in the chat what your biggest takeaway has been from this little session that I've done here today for you. And if you're already meditating for 5 minutes a day, well, just increase it by 5. If you've already been meditating for 20 minutes a day, then I encourage you to use this month to develop a deeper connection with your meditation practice and really see what it can do for you. So I'm excited. Thank you all so much for joining me on this journey. Really glad that you're here. If you have any questions, please reach out. Please let me know, and hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.